Hey everybody, Scott Brown here, and welcome once again to Chasing Rabbits, my vlog to help you become the leader you always wish you had. Over the last few nights, you know that we've been studying and looking over what is a formal game and what is an informal game. And the past couple of nights, we spent a lot of time talking about what is a formal game and what are examples of single-player formal games and where do formal games exist in the world. We're going to switch it up tonight, and I want to talk a little bit about informal games. I want to introduce the concept of informal games and where they exist within the world and how we play them. So first, an informal game, probably the most important part of it, is that the players may not even be known. There are known players, but there are also unknown players. You don't know who all has played the game, who all is playing the game, and who all might play the game in the future. Those variables are not known to you in an informal game. There's also no set rules. So there's no structure of how you have to play the game. There's no penalties if you do something different than what the rules say you're supposed to do. That also means that if there's no rules, there's no way to keep score. No one is actually keeping score of what you are doing. And because you can't keep score, you don't know if you're winning or losing. You don't know where you stand in relation to everybody else because it doesn't matter. It's an informal game. There's also no set delineation for when you start the game and when you stop the game. You don't know when the game is going to be over. You don't know when it actually began. Many informal games began long before we were here, and they're going to continue long after we are gone. And probably the biggest thing about informal games is that they always exist in the natural world. They're not man-made. You can look all around the world, you can look in every species, and all species play a form of every informal game that we play. So it's something that's natural. So you have no known players, you have no known rules, you have no known time limits, there's no score to keep. But even though there's no score to keep, there are absolutely outcomes. And an outcome is very different from a score. An outcome is a result. A score is just a delineation for where you stand. So those are very different concepts. Within informal games, every informal game is broken down into three separate distinct types of informal games. First, you have the games of coordination, where you're working with others. A lot of those are games about how you divvy up resources, not just to your tribe, to your group, but also how your group then divvies up resources to society as a whole, to the greater good. It's all about what you're doing to work with others, to coordinate with others, to help you move forward in whatever pursuit you have, in whatever the greater good is, whatever your cultural norms are, whatever the climate is you've created. Games of coordination work with others. The second is a game of connection. Games of connection are all about the relationships you have. They're the relationships you have with others, the relationships that you have with the community as a whole, relationships that you have within your tribe and your tribe has in a larger place. They are things like family and marriage, religion and friends. Those are all games that we play that are games of connection. And the last thing we have are games of contribution. Games of contribution are how we help someone. They're what we do for somebody. They're things like education and learning and experience and knowledge. They help us be able to move forward and help everybody else who is within our sphere become better. All of those are informal games. But if you think about what an informal game is, we have them all of the time. We are always involved in some sort of an informal game. Whether it's we are trying to better ourselves, whether it is we are trying to build a better relationship, we're trying to learn something, we're trying to contribute to a greater good. Those are all games that we play, but none of them have rules. They are all informal types of games. So that is what the concept of informal games mean. At the end, the informal game is all about the experience. It's all about the overall contribution to the experience, not just of yourself, but of those within your tribe within your community within your society, and the society within the overall ecosystem of the world. They're large picture. They are big picture type games, and they matter immensely. Very different from formal games. Every formal game exists under the umbrella of some sort of an informal game. Formal games always man-made, informal games always exist within nature, not man-made. So that is what I wanted to talk to you about tonight. I'm interested in how you are playing informal games. I'm interested in what informal games you know that you're involved in right now, how you're playing them, and why you've chosen the informal games to play that you have chosen to play. I'm also very interested in your thoughts on the difference between formal games and informal games, where those two fit, and how that fits all within game theory, because obviously this is not mathematical, it is absolutely anthropological and cultural. So until tomorrow, I thank you very much for watching tonight, and until tomorrow night, I wish you all the best. I hope you become the leader that you are trying to become, and as always, toast on, my friends. Toast on.